Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here, thank you for checking out this video, and welcome to my first Mythic Plus run for The War Within. So this is going to be for Season 1 of The War Within Mythic Plus, which opened this last week, and this is going to be a +5 timed Necrotic Wake. It's going to be one of the best keys, in my opinion, this first tier. So we're going to do this big pull first off, and Teach is the one that's tanking for us on his blood DK, so we have a lot of outs in this particular group. And we have some really big pumpers as well, so shout out to both Oddwin and Twisted for doing some absolute crazy damage for this entire run. So we did a big pull there at the very beginning. We pulled 4 total packs, and then we're going to go ahead and just work our way up towards the boss. So the first boss is going to be Blightbone, and I'm already talking to my group because we are in comms. You don't hear it in the video, but we are, and we are just trying to figure out what we're pulling before the boss, because you want to have True Shot up for every boss pulled. That way you get full value of that careful aim, and that really helps even out our DPS, since single target is not our strong suit. So I used my True Shot there at the very beginning of the dungeon. I'm going to go ahead and grab the spear over here. We're going to save all of the spears for the third boss. And at this point, we're trying to figure out, are we going to go ahead and pull trash more, or are we going to go ahead and go to the boss? And we opted to go ahead and pull a little bit more trash. So we're going to go ahead and pull everything up here on the stage. The important interrupts here are actually going to be on the harvesters that drain fluids. It's a channeled stun that you can interrupt, you can stun, you can pretty much keep them CC'd, that way you don't have to worry about it as much. But if that gets on, if you pull too many of those guys and you don't get them interrupted, it's probably going to be a wipe. And as you guys can see here, this is one of the new affixes, which is Xal'athath's Bargin. It can stack up to 10 times, and you get haste and movement speed for that matter, 2% for every stack you get. If you don't go ahead and deal with them, then the bosses or the trash gets that. So you want to make sure and deal with it. So we're here on Blightbone, and I used all of my cooldowns. I'm just going to do my normal rotation, where I'm going to put my explosive shot on the target, then I'm going to go volley, and then true shot, and then rapid fire, aim shot, and you should be able to get all 3 of those out in that first 6 seconds. And we are going to lust with this, so we're getting some pretty good single target damage right now. And when the ads come out, which I could be saving volley for the ads, I opted not to there. But you can go ahead and do that. That way they get cleaved down as quick as possible, because if whenever they do die, they drop the poop on the ground. So here we're going to get nailed with the wretch, because we were supposed to move it towards the where the other poop was, and then we were supposed to go to the other side. It didn't exactly happen, but we didn't die, and so I guess it's okay. So there, whenever they die, that's when we see the poop jump on the ground there. And I actually use my implosive trap to deal with those. That knock-up does count. And you can also interrupt it there like I just did. As long as you deal with them, you get that full buff, and it's for 20 seconds. So here we have about 30% left on the boss. We have some pretty good AoE damage is about to come out, thanks to all those carrion worms. And then I am out of position, to be completely honest with you. So I'm just going to hang out here, and I even said that. I'm like, I guess I live over here now. So they made sure, and they didn't outrange me. But down goes Blightbone. Really quick work on this first boss, and we're going to go ahead and do a big pull going up to this next little area. So normally I would be trying to have my True Shot up for this big pull, but I believe actually we segmented it, so it worked out perfectly. And we actually had some really great Xal'athath's Bargin pop-ups for this entire dungeon. Sometimes we've seen some of our runs that are not so good, but this one was choice. We got it when we needed it most, like before bosses and that sort of thing. And then the other affix, by the way, is Tyrannical. So since this is a +5, the affixes were Xal'athath's Bargin and Tyrannical. And then we don't see another affix until a 7. And do keep in mind, even though this is just a 5 or just a 7, that they were squished, so this was like us doing approximately a 15 from a previous expansion already in the first week. And so we're going to do this big pull here. My True Shot's coming off of cooldown. I don't have volley, so I can't just spam it, but we're going to go ahead and get as much damage as we can. Make sure we're dropping Lunar Storm under the targets. both Zaft and Teach do an amazing job of making sure that they stay in my Lunar Storm, even though they can't see it. Blizzard really needs to fix that. But again, we're seeing some really good damage. In fact, Lunar Storm was 15% of my total damage for this entire run, literally just because the ads were standing in the right place. And then speaking of my damage really quick, so I did 1.27 million DPS for the entire dungeon, and then my item level is 607. My weapon is that crafted gun POW ×2 with the Vivacity enchant, or excuse me, not enchant, Vivacity embellishment, and it is a 619 gun. And then I am running with Steady Focus in this video. I know I said I wasn't going to run it, but I have been, just because you guys have been asking for it to see what the playstyle would look like, so I'll go ahead and keep it for now. It's not too bad, and it's kind of getting me ready for 11.05, when that'll probably be in our build permanently. And I did have 54.1% uptime on that. So this is a big pull that we would normally skip, but you can't actually skip it now. The Soothe Tech does not work anymore. So we'll just deal with it the old-fashioned way, with our cooldowns. So we melted them pretty quickly, and basically right now is I'm trying to figure out when to use my True Shot. Obviously, I could have used it there, but True Shot would have probably been a little bit wasted. I couldn't go ahead and also be purging off of that this enemy here. I should have done that, and I didn't. And I did use a defensive there because I kind of needed to, because otherwise that was really, really slapping hard. And there was a lot of stuff, too, that we haven't done these keys, so we need to see what hurts and what doesn't. So there we have this double pack here. I'm going to go ahead and use my True Shot now. Is it the best? Absolutely not. But I wanted to make sure and get that extra use. I'm going to go ahead and feign there. That way I don't get absolutely annihilated there. You want to interrupt the fear that both of these guys have and get through those shields as quickly as possible. But I am thinking about how we are pulling the big pull, which is kind of like this courtyard over here to the right. So I do know that is in the plans for Teach, and if we're going to do that, we need to make sure both Odwin, Twisted, and myself are at full power and ready to go, because otherwise that is not going to end well for us. So down goes the Marauder, and luckily, like, you can use so many AoE abilities, like Leg Sweep, for example, when Tipsy is tanking for us. Absolutely amazing for that. Same goes for, I think one of the totems can deal with it pretty easily with Psy. And then, oh, by the way, just the entire group itself. So we have a Blood DK and Teach. We have a Shaman Healer, Resto Healer in Psy. And then we have Odwin on his Ret Paladin, Twisted on his Havoc Demon Hunter, and of course myself on my Sentinel Marksman Hunter. And I will put my entire build down in the description of the video if you guys would like to check it out. And I do have my 11.0 Marksman Hunter guide that's getting some really great reviews. I hope you guys will go check that out if you haven't already. And here we go, as that big pull that I had mentioned. I'm going to use even my pre-pot, everything. We are just sending this, and I'm going to go ahead and preemptively use some of my defensives because we are getting absolutely annihilated here. But we're doing some really good damage. We got up to, I think I saw 3.5 million pull there. It's going to start going down now that things are starting to die. But I was just cleaving off of priority targets, something that was going to need an interrupt, like the Marauder was a great example there. Or just one of the casters that have a priority interrupt, or just something to interrupt in general. You can go ahead and just cleave off of those. And Sai did an amazing job of actually just dealing with the affix. Not that I wasn't trying to deal with it, but he was usually beating me to the punch. So shout out to everybody that did a really amazing job with the affixes. Actually, I really enjoy this affix. It's not too bad. It's so much better than some of the other affixes. We won't talk about that one though, or any of those that were removed. But I'm excited to see what keys are going to look like for the rest of the season. So now we have another big pull, and in my head I'm trying to figure out, am I sending True Shot, am I not? So I'm going to go ahead and send my Explosive Shot, get my my Trick Shots, and then I to send it because I need this up for the boss. But keep in mind as well, this boss, I'm not going to pop it on cool or on pull. I want to pop it whenever the ads come out because the ads need to die. Yeah, is it pad damage? Of course it is. But you do need them to die because the two casters that are in there, for example, absolutely slow and annihilate your entire group, and they make your healer's life hell. So you want to make sure and get them dealt with, whether you're CCing them or you're just straight up pulling them in with grippy hands and killing them. So we just dodge the ice on the ground that comes up underneath your feet, the spikes, and then we're going to finish off the skeletal monstrosity here. And he doesn't pad around, so you can't skip him. You have to actually kill him now. Not a big deal in my opinion. He's pretty easy to deal with, although he does slap your tank's butt pretty hard. And then we as a group have opted to go ahead and use all 3 of the spears on the third boss. So we are just not going to be using them on any of these other bosses. So here is this boss, Amarth. This is the mount that comes out of here. It looks exactly like his mount here. And True Shot is up at a perfect time. So now I'm going to go ahead and let Grippy Hands bring everything in. True Shot, or Volley, then True Shot, then Rapid Fire, Aim Shot, and everything's already dead thanks to Twisted. So I guess it really didn't matter too much, so I'm just going to be playing catch up for most of this encounter. He was ready with his cooldowns as well, and at this key level, even though it is a 5, this key level we're really annihilating a lot of this stuff. And the Necrotic Wake was usually an amazing push key anyway in Shadowlands, and it is looking to be a really good push key here in the War Within as well. In fact, I might even say we could probably do this at probably an 8 or a 9, maybe a 10, but we'd have to be like on our game for that. So we're just getting the rest of the ads brought up here. So the mages are the priority interrupt there. So unfortunately we had some go out, and you saw us all about die, or at least I about died. But Amarth is going down. Just going to make sure and watch the breath. It tends to go, I don't know if it always goes right then left, like the first breath goes to the right, the second breath goes to the left, but it did that time. And then just don't stand in that final harvest, and final harvest will harvest any of his ads that are still alive that are at least are not CC'd. So we're going up to the necropolis, and we are at 78% of our enemy forces. So Sai actually had went back to get one of the orbs, so we're all going to kind of hang out here because none of the stuff starts padding up top in the necropolis until one of us starts going up with the winged champion. So we're just waiting, and now that Teach is headed up, we are headed up as well, and we are really moving right along in this key. In fact, we 2-chested this, and we were about 2 minutes away from a 3-chest on a 5 in the first week, so that's pretty good. We got a big pull here, pretty crazy, and this is the main reason we had those orbs to get all of the interrupts. So here I can always do a better job of interrupting. In fact, I'm just trying to like spray and pray right now. We got 4 million DPS right now for Twisted, 4 million for me. Like, we were just absolutely destroying this stuff. There is the frontal that one of the bigger dudes, the loyal creations, have, so you want to make sure and avoid that as much as possible. The collectors, they have the gore splatter there. We can get rid of gore splatter thanks to our feigned death. So do keep that in mind. I mean, the turtle can as well, but I wouldn't use it just to clear that. You might need it later on, trust me on that. The third boss, the poop that he drops on the ground, Oddwin and I both stepped our toe in it, and only one of us survived. And it's probably not the person you think. So we have the 2 on this side, and then we have the bigger pull on the left side. It's kind of behind me now. And then I'm already looking at my True Shot. So we're whittling the cooldown of True Shot every time we're basically doing anything. And I'm getting in the habit of making sure that I just use it. Just use it a bunch, and yeah, it may not always be up for a boss fight, but just get in the habit of using it, and then you'll figure out really quick that 2-minute cooldown is now, a minute 28 or something like that, and based on your focus usage, and you'll learn really quick when you can and cannot use it. That was the beauty about BFA, was that I learned my sweet spot if I could get my true shot down to like a minute 10, a minute 20, so I was just sending it. Like, pack almost dead, great, I'm sending it and moving it to the next one. Why not? So we have the double pack here. You want to hit the other assistant with the cleaver. It does do quite a bit of damage, and I'm just going to go ahead and cleave off of them here. I have my true shot up, and I went ahead and I used it because, for one, I could get a pretty good amount of cleave on there even in just 6 seconds, but also because we have 2 more packs before the boss, and if I'm going to use it on the boss, I need to use it now. Otherwise, if I hold it for the ads, which will in theory make my damage better, it won't matter because I won't have true shot up for the boss, or at least I didn't think I would. And then also, you saw the one fixation. If you do happen to get fixated and you're playing a hunter, regardless of the flavor of hunter, as soon as the cast fully fills the bar and he starts running towards you, just feign death and it drops it entirely. So we have Gore Grind on this side, and I forget the other, Rot Spew maybe, on the other side, that are always just failing the surgeon's Stitchflesh here. He does not like either of these guys, although their model is pretty cool. But I'm just doing my standard rotation, just making sure that I have my trick shots up before I use a rapid fire or before I use an aim shot, and then I'm using all of my precise shots, or at least most of them. I'm not perfect at it. And I do have my 4 set. I don't have a weak aura for it just yet. I haven't been really trying to min-max it or anything, since you pretty much just use your precise shot procs when you're outside of your true shot, and honestly, you don't use it during true shot, even though you'd think it would, but you just want to get more aim shots are better than some that are hitting 20% harder. So I'm just going to cleave off of Rot Spew here, and then as long as we get everything interrupted. Actually, now I think about it, there's not anything to interrupt on this pull. All these pulls kind of melt together after a while. They're just one big amalgamation of undead in the necropolis. So looking at my true shot, I actually have it up. So maybe I could have used it on the first of these 2 packs, but I opted not to. But I'm not holding it for too terribly long, and I'm making sure that I have it up when we need it, which is for the Surgeon Stitchflesh. So on this boss, it's pretty easy, pretty standard stuff. So we're going to go ahead and just DPS down the creation here, and then there's a little mark on the ground, as you can see here, and then that's where the hook needs to go. So here comes the hook. Sai is going to whip it around here in the last second, and that's going to go ahead and pull the boss down. Otherwise, he's immune up there. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and use that bloody javelin, that spear there, so he's taking more damage. You still have to actually do damage this go around instead of the spear doing damage for you, but you're still getting some tremendous value there, and then you can actually use the pull to stop this fixation on the surgeon. So as long as you keep that add up, although we are absolutely annihilating this thing. So I'm going to stick my toe in this poop here in just a second, and you're going to just watch my health just plummet. So there's the one hit was like 25%, and that's just on a 5. So I don't know if it goes up with key level or not. Either way, all I knew it was hurt, and I knew that Oddwin's going to get hit by it here in a second, and he's going to feel the pain as well. So here comes the second Stitchflesh creation. I step into it again. Easily should have died there. So I got really lucky by having just a little bit more health than the damage. Otherwise, GG, the hunter is definitely dead there, particularly with the bleed that I have on me there. But the surgeon is almost down. I'm looking at my cooldowns. Here comes the Xal'athath's Bargin as well, so we have that little bit of haste. The boss actually doesn't get the haste on. The boss has gotten a few haste, or I guess what you can call them, just the haste bargain, but it's not that big of a deal if it gets a couple. But I'll be honest with you, we did one 8 key that was the Dawnbreaker, and the boss got all 10 of them when we weren't paying attention. do not advise that. You won't see that video just because I was actually not recording it, but you won't see that one here on YouTube. But we're going to go ahead and have all of our cooldowns here, and we're just going to absolutely unload on the boss. This boss is pretty easy, particularly if you're the lone ranged outside of your healer. There's not too much you have to deal with. One of those abilities, though, is Comet Storm, so you just keep moving. Just kind of go around in a tight circle, and you don't have to worry about it too much. And then the Lich here is going to pick one target and send to the sides. The Frozen Binds does come out as well. If you disengage with that on, you will break it and it will do damage to your group. So be careful if they're inside the circle. So you saw the Exile go down. Here comes the next storm, so we're just going to continue to move there. Try to have something available whenever I know that's going to come out, so that way I can be doing damage while I'm moving. But the Dark Exile sends you down to the sides. I believe I get sent down here at some point. I got out of the route there thanks to my post haste, so I just kind of communicated that with my group. And then we have the Xal'athath's Bargin buff, and then Oddwin will be back here momentarily. And what he's doing down there is going through a gauntlet and killing the ad at the end. Once the ad is dead, then you can get taken back up. As you can see, him getting dropped off, and then you're going to go to a corner and get dispelled. That way, or actually it's not even a dispel, it just drops the poop there. There goes the Exile, and it looks like Twisted was up, and when you come back up, you actually have a 100% chance to crit, so pretty nice. They definitely help you because you're losing a ton of damage while you're down there. But all in all, this was an amazing run. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/MrEggplant. Like I said, a 1.27 million so far for the dungeon overall. My build will be found down in the description of the video, and I will have a ton of more Mythic Plus content out, delves, and so much more very, very soon. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.